What's really good, LeSBP trading familiar when it's D's one G one Gia. Thank you all for tuning in. Say hey, Maxie. Say hey, Maxie. Get away from my face. Why you always lick? Stop trying to lick my face. You alcoholic. She always lick my face when I'm trying to drink some alcohol. So what's really good, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. Today we're going to be looking at Doyle Exchange. You've seen him before. I've done a video on him before like that. Don't forget, I'm never doing this to bash anybody. It has nothing to do with me thinking I'm better or them being better, and I'm not sponsored or anything like that by anybody I ever do these videos on. And it's not for clout. I don't give a shit about saying anything bad about anybody. All right, so live trading GBPJPY $2,333 in 25 minutes using supply and demand strategy. Doyle Exchange is the name of his channel. If you do like him and all that great stuff, then please go like him, go sub if you want to. But the one thing that I definitely do recommend is for you to at least watch his video. Don't just take my word for it. I'm doing a very short, very quick analysis on what he did and my understanding of it. You may get a totally different understanding, and you may like to watch other videos of his too at that. So please go do that on your own. He's trading GBPJPY, and all I'm going to do is just go through what I kind of seen on this trade. So he's using supply and demand right here, and as you can see, he has a little box there. As it touched inside, he was expecting to get into this trade. Now, I believe he said he was like in bed, and then he got a message from the Discord. It was a good trade coming up, and all this other great stuff. So he ended up jumping to the trade just a tad bit late, but he got into that trade. Now, two key things that I take away from these videos. One, I need to learn how to use supply and demand. I don't know how to do that. Even support resistance, I am horrible at. I know how to put it on the chart. I'm pretty sure anybody could, but is it in the right spot? I always get worried about little stuff like, is it in the right spot? How do you make sure that you're actually spotting supply and demand and not just like some fake out area, stuff like that or whatever. And I've watched a lot of this man's videos and I still can't figure it out. And then the second thing is how quickly they are to get like in and out. Like, boom, he's only in this trade for 25 minutes. My behind would have been in this trade for the full duration of the day, which sometimes is a good thing and then sometimes it's a bad thing. It depends on how the market's moving that day, and if it decides to retrace, come back, pull back, all that great stuff, then you're kind of screwed, you know what I mean? Like, and I'll show you because I've already mocked it up on the chart and everything. So let's go ahead, jump right into it so that we can see what we can see. So I took off the volume. Remember, I use volume. I do use MACD sometimes. I took that off the chart already. So it won't hurt you guys' eyes, all right, you guys and gals' eyes. And I went ahead and mocked up Doyle's trade right here. So if you're looking at like the bigger picture, you know what I mean? Of course, hindsight is 2020. He didn't know it was going to go down here. But if you're looking at the bigger picture, this looks relatively small to me. It does. It just looks relatively small. In this case, if I'm putting it at the exact same spot that he got in and out at, I believe, don't quote me on it, but I believe this is only about 13 pips. Now, I don't know how GBPJPY moves. You know what I mean? He knows way better than I do. I haven't traded GBPJPY in like a year and a half. Same thing with gold. I haven't traded gold in a year and a half. I've been concentrating strictly on like NAS 100. But for me, I'm just like, man, if I'm going to do analysis on it and if I'm going to jump to the trade, I am holding this trade for some duration amount of time. Now, of course, there was some news on this day. There was CB consumer confidence on the 31st. When he was actually in that trade. So maybe that was a thing. I don't know. But I know that CB consumer, I know that CB consumer confidence doesn't move the market a lot. Now, if it's already going in your general direction, more than likely it's probably going to keep going in that direction. You might get a small pullback or somewhat of a pullback, but in most cases it's going to keep going the way that you already were in. So for me, this seems like a relatively small trade. Now, I start trading at 7 o'clock in the morning. But as you saw, he's on the 5-minute chart. This is the 5-minute chart. I don't trade on the 5-minute chart. I trade on the 1-minute chart. So let's jump back to the 31st so that we can see where I would have gotten in at. Now, once again, we do use the EMAs, but because this is a high news day, CB consumer confidence, even though it doesn't move the market a lot, it is a high news day. I have a method 1 and a method 2. Method 1 is high news impact days, basically where I'm trading off of price, kind of like price structure. Price, I can never say that. Price structure. And then method 2 is where I'm just strictly using the EMAs along with these buy and sell signals in order to get me in. So here is where I could have possibly gotten in. The second spot is here where I could have possibly gotten in. for this sell. Before that, I would have had one opportunity for a buy, and that was right here after the touch of this 500 EMA. So we might have lost one. I'm not going to lie to you all. We might have at least lost one. So the touch right here. Because we're not really paying attention to, what's the word I'm looking for? Oops, that's a sell. We're not really necessarily paying attention to the EMA or the buy and the sell. We're more or less trying to pay attention to the structure. So it probably would have either been here or here. But I think that would have been a loss for at least 2.2 pips. Other than that, here would have been our next trade, or here would have been our next trade. Now, the bad thing about both of those trades, to be honest with you, is the fact that since we're trying to hold for the duration of the day, as you can see, boom, we get knocked out without all of this extra money. Look at all of that. Look at all that. That's like 90 something pips right there. Yeah, that's like 91, 92 pips that we could have partaken in. But because of the simple fact that, one, we don't trade GBPJPY, so we don't know its kind of nuances and what it does and stuff like that, we're holding it like we would hold NAS 100. So NAS 100 moves quite a bit, just as well as like US 30 and gold and stuff like that. GBPJPY in this case, it did move quite a bit, but it also came back. And I mean, don't get me wrong, NAS 100 does the same thing too sometimes, but like we don't know how GBPJPY trades. So sadly, we would have held this all the way out to the end of the day. Now, key things I can say here is the fact that, or key takeaways I have from this is, one, it tells me I'm not like a true scalper because of the simple fact, like I can't simply just get in and get out like 10-20 minutes. Like my trades have to be pretty much held. Like I gotta hold my trades. Now he did get in a very good spot. That supply and demand setup stuff will definitely help you out. He definitely got in a really good spot. We would have gotten in probably about a pip or two under where he would get in at, but holding it out, if we knew or if we know, like, okay, we want to take on a general basis, because that's what I usually do. I usually take at least 120 to 200 pips on a general basis. Once it gets past that point, everything else is cush. You know what I mean? Like everything else is just is extra. So for me, maybe if I'm having GJ and I know that 60 pips is my goal, and everything after that is cush, is extra, and if it comes back to 60, then okay, we're done for the day. Then yeah, I probably would have taken that. But in this case, I don't know that information because I don't trade GBPJPY. So literally, like I was saying earlier before, that just shows you the two trades. That's his trade. My trade would have been here. Sadly, we would have got out all the way over here at 4 o'clock. We'd have waited the whole day for that shit just to come back up and bite us in the butt. But that's it. That's all I had to show you. I appreciate it. Once again, please go check out Doyle's channel. Go check out that video, I should say. I'm not doing this for clout. I'm not doing this for accolades. I don't, I'm pretty sure that dude's been trading way longer than I have, so he's a way better trader than me. Especially at like stuff like supply and demand, support resistance, all that great stuff. But yeah, that's really about it. If you got any questions or any comments, please let me know. Other than that, peace out.